Alright, well, welcome to Magic the Gathering Arena. This game's in closed beta. If you're watching, maybe you're in, maybe not. There's a good amount of people in, but I know a bunch are still waiting around to get involved. Right now the game's only free to play, so the card libraries are pretty limited. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the one that I've been playing with to rank up this last week or so. I invested a lot of crafting, and maybe I'll talk about that in another video. Invested a bunch of my resources into kind of finishing this off. So this is a bug, or I guess they call this Sultai now, kind of Explorer mid-range rock deck. Plays a bunch of Explorer guys: Seeker Squire, Merfolk Branch Walker, Wild Growth Walker who synergizes with them, Jade Light Ranger, and I have one Path of Discovery, just because. Chandler Initiate for fixing and ramp. Champion of Wits just to get through the deck, and the Eternalize is insane. Golden Demise, just some removal. It's pretty easy to get to Ascend in this deck. Brontodon, just as a catch-all removal for the white enchantments. Hadana's Climb to go over the top. Chupacabras for value, especially with Scarab God. Then just because, again, my collection's so limited, I'm playing this guy, just value guy, kind of fits in the deck. Tendershoot Dryad, if it goes unanswered, it can really take over a game. Tetsamok for clear. Scarab God, which is kind of one of the format-defining cards online right now. And Nissa, which is like pretty medium, but it works well with Explore. And then, what am I looking at? 14, 16, 18, 24 lands, which has felt right. Haven't had too much trouble with 3 colors here. So I'm just going to jump into a game. I've already kind of done my win for the day, so I'm not going to be getting any gold, and I'm going to wait to mulligan this quest tomorrow because I don't want to play white-blue. Here we go. You don't get to pick in the game right now, just randomly determines who goes first or second at the start of the game, so deviates a little bit from what you might experience playing in a local tournament, FNM, or just even casually like flipping a coin or rolling dice to see who gets the option to go first or second. So he's resolving his mulligan, and it's on me. This is kind of a slow hand, but assuming I draw into any Explorer, I think it's pretty good. It's got all my colors, so maybe a little greedy, but I'll keep it. This I'm playing Final Reward just because I don't have any of the, I think it's called Vraska's Demise. Oh, my opponent is getting down to 3 here. 2, 1. And I'm sure he'll concede. Nope. Okay. Alright, there we go. So you can see here the rating system is not very well defined, but I think we can see what my rating is right now. You start as unranked, and it's kind of like League of Legends or similar. You kind of work up through bronze, silver, gold. So I think I'm gold 4 right now, so I've made it up through bronze and silver, climbing pretty much entirely with this deck. If you haven't watched a lot of people stream this game, you're not really familiar with the meta. We're missing all of the energy cards from standard. I forget exactly off the top of my head what those sets are called. This is pretty close, but I'll keep it as long as I explore into some colors. I'll be okay. So yeah, I think because we're missing a lot of that energy stuff, the format's become, it's only a 4-set format, both the Ixalan sets and both of the Amonkhet sets. So it's pretty well defined by the bombs and hard to answer stuff. So Planeswalkers, things like Scarab God, just the gods in general, are pretty hard to answer, but that, I'm kind of wondering if I need to play this now, in case I need to Golden Demise next turn. Yeah, because this Merfolk deck can get out of hand with the +1/+1 counters, and the Demise can become dead really quickly. Cool. Alright, this is a good card against him. you can see here, again, if you're not familiar, when you hold a card out, I have the auto tap feature enabled, so my swamp and forest have this kind of gold halo around them. So those are the lands that the computer is intending to tap for me. Looks good to me. So I'll play my Wild Growth Walker. And then because I don't have any other plays, it auto passes the turn back to my opponent. So I think any kind of traditional, like blue players especially, are not going to like that. It kind of gives your opponent a tell that I don't have a 1-mana instant like opt in my hand. Otherwise, it would have given me a chance. So this is good, is a good opportunity for me to play my Golden Demise here, provided he doesn't have like Spell Pierce, which is in the format but not often played, or something like there's a spell that gives a Merfolk +0/+3, so he could use that to save his Lord, which would be pretty bad for me, but I have to go for it, I think. So if he plays any more buffing effects, this Demise is going to be dead. So, alright, got his board. No attacks. I could have swung with the Walker first, but I just kind of wasn't thinking about it. Missed 1 point of damage there. It's okay. We're kind of playing the long game against this guy. Alright, another Lord. He's keeping it on top. Explore. I love that mechanic. Alright, so I'm going to lead off with the Squire here, because if I explore into an untapped green source, I can follow it up with the Jade Light Ranger. Otherwise, I'll play the Merfolk Branch Walker. That's a good card to keep. Good finisher. And I guess, do I want to make this into a 3/5? I guess so. I'm not going to get the opportunity to explore next turn now, but I think that'll be okay. And then this gives me a blocker here. Oh, no, with the Lord it doesn't, but I guess I can double block if I need to. More branch walkers for him. Alright, they're attacking. I kind of don't hate double blocking here. And then sitting back with this 3/5. I know I'm not going to have a play next turn. I know the top card of my deck. This is kind of a nice feature. Since I know the top card, I can click, shows me. And then I'll just spend my turn activating the Tetsamok, putting some counters on his creatures here. And hold back with the Wild Growth Walker. Not in a rush. No attackers in turn. So we're hoping for untapped green source, or this also works. And I think it's worth just playing it to get a 6/6. I think they'll likely concede here. Just with this 1/1 in play, I'm happy about that. Yep. Alright. So you can see I'm slowly inching up. It's not very fast. You climb through bronze and silver much quicker. I've noticed a drop-off in gold. And for my victory, I get a 1/3. Not great. I'll maybe spend another video kind of talking about the crafting system and general ideas for how to get on your feet if you get into the beta. Not wasting time. I definitely spent the first week crafting towards the theme decks that come pre-stocked in the account that I wasn't necessarily interested in playing, but I wasn't really sure how quickly I should expect to get more crafting cards, and the answer to that was not very quickly at all. So it took a while to kind of get into a deck that I was happy with. See, I'm going first, and I think this is a fine keep with Champion of Wits to give me some velocity. What's pretty interesting, I've noticed, maybe it's different at the higher ranks, but the Explore stuff doesn't seem terribly popular. But I've been enjoying it. It seems to have a lot of inevitability and puts up a lot of good walls against the more aggressive, like straight blue-green Merfolk decks or mono-red or red-black aggressive decks. And then I've got a Planeswalker. I've crafted the Scarab Gods, Champion of Wits to provide some long-term card advantage. So there's really nice tools in this deck to go long and grind out wins against control decks. I guess I'm going to assume that the opponent is on blue-black control and try to get a decent beater on the board to start going to town. Graveyard that. I don't think it's going to be very useful. Oh, this is okay. Let's see. Let's see if I will bait maybe a kill spell here. The -2/-2. No. Not in a rush to play this, so I think I'll just play land tapped, pass the turn, and see if they decide to. Oh, they did have Moment of Craving. So here I think I'll try to resolve Champion of Wits. If they decide to counter it, that's okay. I can still flash it back with Eternalize, which is really what you want the card to do. And this gives me the opportunity to then play something, get my tap land, and it does turn on Censor here by not playing the untapped land. But appears the opponent does not have it. I cannot pay 3. And I will put a land tapped. So this is not bad. So if they decide to tap out here, I can just slam the Scarab God. Oh, they're probably going to remove Scarab God here, but that will still give me an opportunity to slam Vizier, which will hopefully provide some value. And I do have a second Scarab God in the deck, so I'm not completely dead in terms of a long game plan. Okay. My opponent knows my hand, so I can't really rep a 1-mana spell here, so it really doesn't matter what I'm going to do. Draw on land. Not bad. Oh, that's not amazing. But it is getting me closer to flashing back the Champion of Wits. Let's see if they have a kill spell here. I feel like they would have used it on their turn maybe to deny me. I wonder if there's any value in... Yeah, I'll just try to get the Brontodon down. I don't think this color combination is going to have much I'm going to want to remove. Unless they're running like an artifacts package of some kind. Okay. Most likely they're saving some kind of Moment of Craving here to minimize the power of this Champion of Wits. So, but they can't counter it. All they can do is kind of blow removal spells on it. Oh, this is going to work out really nicely for me. Do I wish to draw 4? Yeah. And now I discard 2. Alright. So they're like I said, like the one nice thing about Explore is even against these control decks, like you have enough early drops that you can get pressure on the board, put them into situations where on turn 4 or 5 they actually have to interact with you, and that can create openings to resolve big threats. And you have the advantage of being 3-color. Like, that's really not that common. It seems like most people tend to be 2-color, unless they're going like 4-color ramp, which is kind of hard to pull off unless you open some really specific cards, I think. But let's do one more, and then I'll talk about some of the other cards I kind of interested in crafting for this, but not 100% sure because there's some other interesting decks in the format, like blue-white token life gain deck that can win through not exactly going infinite on life, but gaining enough life that you can deck out the opponent or just swarm them with tokens. There's also like various blue-white or blue-white-green control decks that win with Dawn of the Second Sun or whatever that card is called. This is pretty good. I like Channeler Initiate, though I'm not sure if maybe the enchantment is better than it. I haven't tested the enchantment yet. The 3 mana enchant a land, it makes 2 mana. Because this coming in as an 0/1 is pretty bad against red decks that all play that 1/1 haste that can be sacrificed to deal a damage. So it can just be a dead card in some matchups, but it's very nice for fixing double blue to get your Eternalize off on Champion of Woods. But the enchantment would do that as well, and it gains you 3 life in the process. It just isn't a different slot in the curve. Cool. I do like the turn 2 Channeler Initiate. Lets you do something like turn 3 Wild Growth Walker into 2-drop Explorer creature. And just build a board really quickly that way. And sometimes you get blown out like just putting a Wild Growth Walker onto the board turn 2 and it eats a piece of removal and you never really get to go off with it. Whatever creature you control becomes a charge spell or ability, you may draw. The Wild Growth Walkers aren't doing much for me. So I'm going to tap this for green, which will then allow the auto tap to understand to tap those for me. It's a little shortcut. If you don't tap the mana creature first, it'll just kind of sit there because it doesn't know to automatically tap that for you. So it did take about a week or so of like fooling around with the, for lack of a better word, shortcomings of the UI here to figure out what the optimal way of playing around with their shortcuts is. You can also like turn off auto tap, but that's so slow that I'm not willing to do that. Combat. I'll take 3, and I will happily commit one of these to the board. I want to hold counters on the Channeler, so I'm not going to play the second one. It'll also, I want to be able to like get the Tender Shoot Dryad out next turn if I draw an untapped land. This is definitely showing the weakness of the Walker, that in multiples it can be bad if you are not drawing your Explore to go with it. Wow, nice double draw for my opponent there. Oh, it doesn't really help them on their board to push through my blockers. Tetsamok. Okay. Oh, that's noted for the final reward. Nissa. Alright. This is a good spot, just a jam Nissa for 2. And probably 0. I can either use her 0 activation to look for a 2-drop or a land on top of my deck, or I can scry and set up. I don't think I'm at risk of the opponent killing her, but yeah, let's go greedy. We're facing a Tetsamok incoming, so nice. Take action. I explore. I draw my land because I have it all. And now I can actually... Oh. Alright, so that's a good example of the UI kind of messing me up because I wanted to attack there, and it was not in my attack step, and because there was only one target for my opponent, or only one enchantment in play for it to target, and it automatically assumed that that was what I intended to do. So I think I would have gotten there eventually when I was going to final reward something. Like, how is this worded? I'm going to die. So if I final reward this Jade Light Ranger, it actually totally bricks their journey to eternity. And I think I need to do it. I think I need to let them kill the Nissa here. Because this card is going to be very hard to beat in what's going to be a long, grindy game for sure.
Tell the Gatewatch I'm sorry.
Now the downside of this is that they have their own -2/-2 effect. No. So while they're tapped out, I'm just going to do this. And I guess attack with the Branch Walker. Yeah, I guess I might as well because... And attack with the Chandler Initiate. I guess I'll attack with everything. This has a counter. They're probably going to play Tetsamok next turn. They have their Swamp, so might as well get the damage in. So if they Tetsamok here, I can at least play the Dryad and hope, fingers crossed, they don't have a really efficient way to deal with it. I have some chump blockers until I can get these Wild Growth Walkers back down and the life gain can raise. This is a pretty bad spot. Though if they decide to play the Tetsamok here, I guess they're only going to get the Walker off the board. Whereas they could be looking at like activate Tetsamok twice, activate Deadeye Tracker to explore, which would be pretty good. Path of Discovery. Okay. Path of Discovery and Tetsamok activations? Or Deadeye Tracker activation? Oh, interesting. I like this little icon here. They do this also for when you ascend. You'll get a little thing that just says the city's blessing. It's a little strange that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Even if you have the city's blessing, if it won't necessarily show you as having it unless you have an effect that uses it. So you can be at 11, 12 permanents, fall back down to under 10, and then when you draw an ascend card, it will not. It seems to only check when you have the card in hand, which I think is a strange choice. But here, I guess I'm going to save the Chupacabra for this. I can try to delay them by just running down the Dryad. So they have that on top. I guess I'm going to jam with the team again. They're pretty low. They're on 10. We know that they're not drawing a land next turn, and they don't have one, so I don't think they played their extra land off their Discover trigger. So I'll just jam the Dryad here, make a token, make it a little harder for them to play down Tetsamok. Oh, this will be tough. To break through. 679. So I'll get City's Blessing on my upkeep. I can keep going wide here, but I think I just want them to commit to a Tetsamok that I can then, on my turn, like untap, Chupacabra, their Tetsamok, drop my walkers, would be great if I had Doomfall, but I kind of cut it from the list. Just found it to be a little too awkward. Wow, second Journey to Eternity. This card seems very hard to pull off. Wow. Huh. Maybe I do just go wide here. Just make it harder for them. Yikes. I don't plan any way to deal with that land. Just the deck is very color intensive, so I have not put in the desert or whatever it is that lets you pay to sack, kill a land. So luckily they only have the mana here to activate Tetsunock one more time. Oh, no, they're still not going to go for it? Oh, okay, no, I miscounted. Okay. Oh, this is probably a loss at this point. They drew their Path of Discovery. Oh, no, I can still draw to my Tetsunock and get through here. It's just going to be a big grind. I'm at 32. Might as well play it out. Oh, second Path of Discovery. I guess I just need to kill the life gain thing at this point. And I'm going to hold this forest just to make it seem like I have action in my hand. The viewers at home know, of course, that that is not the case. This is the one way you can also create a little confusion and represent a spell. The game will stop in your second main phase like that if you have a land and you haven't played your land for the turn, so it won't automatically just push you through to the end step. So you can kind of represent something even when you're holding lands just simply by not playing them. And if this was a blue source, I may have played it because of Scarab God, to be able to play Scarab God and activate the same turn, but I don't have that. I wonder. It's not even really worth. I think I'm just gonna do this. With this land, they're just gonna bring stuff back. Alright, so I'm bricking. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not good. Even if I draw Tetsunock, I only have enough black sources to activate it once and then play it. So I'll give it one more draw, and then I'll concede. We'll go back to the deck list. So there's definitely ways to power this deck up more. I think, unfortunately, they require a lot of mythics, like getting a better Planeswalker, either Liliana or Vraska. Both play well in the deck. Vraska, especially right now, is just so good because of the unconditional removal against decks like this where, you know, Path of Discovery is going to take over. Now, I kind of got hurt by accidentally letting the UI trick me into removing my Bronodon earlier, so I could have killed one of these, but alright. Good game, friend. Don't automatically hit exit game. It's like very easy to do this. Make sure you hit concede. So that's the deck. That third game was a little bit swingy. We both had similar strategies. But I'm going to go back to it here and just kind of show you again. So the blue splash, there's a lot of ways you can go with it. At one point, I was actually playing, where is it? River's Rebuke, which would have been great in a board state like that. But that double blue, and it just felt like a dead card a lot of the time. The thing I'm really playing it for is Champion of Wits, and I have a 4th. I wonder if it might even be worth putting the 4th in. And cutting something like the Dryad, which is for 5 mana 2/2, it can be really bad in some scenarios. But yeah, let's see if I can pull up, like, how do I show the cards I don't have? This search thing is a little weird. I'm not exactly sure how to use it, but if you're familiar with Magic, there's Liliana the Planeswalker and Vraska the Planeswalker. Oh, maybe I have to turn on. Weird. It's only showing me. It won't show me the Planeswalkers for whatever reason, but this is definitely a removal spell upgrade over Final Reward, which only does a creature, versus this that does a creature or a Planeswalker and gains me life. So I could use one of my rare wild cards here to craft it. I could also fill out the 4th Seeker Squire, though I'm not sure if that card's actually that amazing, or if I should actually be trying to move away from all the Explorer. I could craft more Jadelight Rangers. I've replaced the 3-drop Explorer guy in green, Tishana's Wayfinder, completely, because it was just very weak but a necessary evil early on, and I replaced the Ixali's Diviners by crafting the 2-drop stuff. So as far as Chandler Initiate, it was okay that game, but there's a good green enchantment that might be better, just more consistent, to help me hit double black, double blue, Gift of Paradise. Downside is it doesn't block, it doesn't beat down, but I've found it's pretty rare in maybe testing the Chandler for 15-20 games that I've ever actually had a good attack with it. It usually sits around and then dies, or just is never big enough to do anything. So I could see, maybe I'll even test that now. Gift is kind of a more interesting top deck late game too. Like, I just need the life gain sometimes. I need the ability to get to double blue like now. So if you have 10, I can put, tap 3, put it onto an untapped land, instantly get 2 blue sources. Yeah, I don't know. I could play around with something like this. Maybe I just should be playing this for value because it's powerful in a vacuum, and getting to 4 is not that hard. Like Jadelight Ranger can get to 4. Wildgrowth Walker can easily get to 4. The Champion of Wits Eternalized back at 4. I don't know. It might be. I would need to get. I might need to get some more powerful cards. Let's see. There's one mythic green creature who's just like actually kind of unbeatable. Right now it's really hard to compete with it. Where is he? Thought it was like a 6-drop. Yeah, really weird how this doesn't show you all the cards, but it's like a 6 mana 7/6 uncounterable hexproof trample that is just extremely good right now because of the permission-based control decks have no way to answer it. It has hexproof, so the traditional removal can't answer it. I could definitely see fitting some of those in here, but I think then it would be like moving it completely away from Explore, doubling down on the mana fixing, and just trying to become like a black, blue, green good stuff deck. But anyways, that's where I think I'll call it for this video. And definitely as I continue to improve the deck list and craft cards and open cards, I'll keep showing it off. All right, thanks. Bye.